do this.
All right, guys, it's Clinton and Kevin from CNC Equipment. Today we're gonna measure some undercarriage on this beautiful Komatsu excavator. We've had a lot of people asking about undercarriage measuring videos, so we're gonna do one on the excavator and then one on a dozer later on. Excavators are kind of totally different in how they measure and everything, where they wear in a different place than the dozers and stuff. So the excavators, you're gonna get a lot of rail stretch on them. They get a lot of internal wear because the excavator doesn't do a lot of travel, and actually when they're sitting there working, they're kind of twisting doing this maneuver here, so it wears a lot of the pins and bushings out inside. So we're going to measure everything today. We've actually already measured the other side. We'll take you guys through the process and go through it. Going on here, we got some stuff from ITR America. We're actually an undercarriage dealer from them. You guys can see we've got a undercarriage inspection report. You can get these from us or ITR or any of your local ITR dealers. We got an ITR America measuring kit here. Kevin's going to be our measuring model today.
Thank you.
And so ITR actually has wear specs on all the undercarriages for most everything that is out there. So you guys can see we've got the new measurement there is 105 millimeters on our track chain height, and they got the wear specs. So if you're only 93.5 millimeters tall, you're 132% worn somehow.
And you're whooped.
You're not doing good. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through and measure all this stuff as the list goes on here. We got length, height, the bushing, outside diameter, your pitch extension. That's basically how much your rails are stretched out internally. Like I said, on these excavators, that's a big thing on them. This machine is a 2010 Komatsu. It's got like 4,700 hours. It's probably all original undercarriage. You know, just by looking at this thing, it looks really good, and it's still decent yet. The sprockets are in good shape. The rails look good. Pads are good. Like I say, on your excavators, the main thing that wears on them is that rail internal length there. So those things will get stretched out. So if you're looking at a machine real quick, what you can look for is this front idler. If you see it pushed way out here too far, you know your rails are getting stretched out. Another thing you can do too, you can actually jump up on these rails and put your feet on here and rock these back and forth. You guys can see these are pretty tight. Another thing you want to look out for, somebody's pumped your tracks up really tight, and maybe trying to hide that worn out track link in there. So Kevin's going to measure the height here first on here. So right now he's going to measure the rail height. Make sure you got a clean surface there. So, right there. So our new rail height is 105 millimeters.
Like 104 on this side.
Kevin's at 104, so the other side was 104 and a half. This side showing about 20% worn. So we'll write that down here. Next thing we're going to do is a bushing outside diameter. So what that is, that's inside your rails here. You got this bushing. We're going to measure that. These, I don't feel much wear on them. An excavator usually doesn't get a whole lot of wear on something like that. Like I said, a dozer will be kind of the opposite. So the new bushing outside diameter is 59.8 millimeters.
I got 59.
59 on that. I'll 59. Find the spec. Kevin's at 59. That's showing 24% worn. We'll write that down here. Okay, next thing we got is the pitch extension. That's going to be that rail length. That's going to be measuring that internal wear. So what they've got, just a new one is 190 inches. That's just one single joint. That's basically from here to here. ITR gives us a measurement over how many links, Kevin?
I think it was 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he's going to measure over 4 links. It should come up to, a new would be 761 millimeters. So what he's doing is measuring from center of pin to center of pin down there.
762, 760.
We'll usually measure that in a couple different spots because you don't know if the track's taken up a little bit down there or sucked together. So he'll probably take a measurement there and a measurement up here. What'd you have there? 762?
762.
Go measure in another spot there.
Yep.
Again, this is key on these excavators, measuring this pitch right here. So if you just measure over one, you can get off, so they'll give you a measurement over several.
Yeah.
Kind of gives the average. 762?
Yeah.
We're sitting at 762. We go over here, 762 showing 15% worn on that. Guess I better write this down over here. Next thing's going to be our grouser height. Now these have triple bar grousers on them here, so Kevin's going to measure this height right here. Our new height is 26 millimeters. So basically took that tool, put it across there and measured that down just like that. You might check it in a couple different places. You don't want to get out here real close to the edge because they get rounded. So what'd you say you're at there, Kevin?
24.
24. It's the same as the other side. That's 20% worn. All right, next thing we're going to check is the front idler. We're going to do the same thing with the depth gauge here. We're going to come across there and measure that depth right there. And if you don't have these fancy measuring tools, you can make do with some straight edges and things too. So the new front idler is 19 millimeters.
It's right at 20.
So we go here on our idler chart. 20 millimeters is 25% worn. All right, next thing we're going to measure is the carrier rollers, upper carrier rollers. So we'll use the calipers for that, and we're going to measure the outside here. I can tell you this one's already wore a little bit more because it's got a groove cut in it.
Get your squeaker vision on here.
Get her where she's rubbing just a little bit. Top carrier roller, new's 120.
This one's 115.
115?
Yep.
That's 45% worn on that one. That one's took a little bit of use.
Oh.
Do the same back there.
Back one. Back one's 119.
119. Come over short, that's 13% worn. Alright, next thing is going to be all the lower rollers. There's 9 on this machine, I believe. Kevin will get check a couple there, then he'll go through with the calipers and see how the rest of them do. Usually on a piece of equipment, dozer, excavator, anything, the front roller and the rear roller will get a little bit more wear. The reason is you got this track chain coming off your sprocket or your idler, and it puts a little more wear and tear on there. So normally we'll see those front and rear ones wore a little bit more, especially on a dozer. So he's doing the same thing, calipers, measuring that. New rollers are 160 on these, so we'll see what he comes up with.
157.
157. That was on which one?
This one right here.
Second from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see we measured the other side already. They were pretty much all the same, so. Hear that one dragging just a little.
Yep.
That one's the same too. Those all run about the same, Kevin?
Yeah.
Front one's the same too?
Just a smidge under.
Okay. The rear one was the same?
Yeah.
So we're sitting at 157 at most of them, which puts us at 34% worn. This first one's 43. These are all 34.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it. The other thing we don't really have a measurement for is the sprocket. You can tell a lot by just looking at the sprocket. These are pretty much in good shape yet. Whenever you see this point right here come to a sharp square point, you know your sprockets are getting worn. A new one will be flat like this in the middle. It should have, you know, like a ½ inch of room or so. But if you see something that comes to a sharp point, you know that those sprockets are about done for sure. So what we'll kind of do now is kind of average all these numbers up together. We'll get a kind of a general idea of what the overall undercarriage is. So you'll see people rating machines. We do too. You know, undercarriage is 75% remaining, 50% remaining. That's all going based off these numbers. So, and if you're not sure, have somebody measure it for you. If you don't know what's going on, or if somebody's just, you know, pulling that number out of their head, make sure they go back and double check that stuff. So we'll kind of go over this stuff here, average some of these numbers together and see what we got. All right, we did some math here. Actually added all these numbers together. 3,200 would be our 100%. We come with 1,010, which is basically 31% worn. So that means this machine has 69% remaining on its undercarriage. So got quite a bit of life left on it. That's like, say, when you're averaging all those numbers. Some of the rollers are a little more worn than some of the other components on there, which happens on these. So and another thing to keep in mind too, somebody measures this undercarriage, say this machine had 6,000 hours on it, and it's sitting there at that 40-50% mark. It doesn't matter what machine it is, whether it's a dozer, excavator, or anything, that last 40-50% is going to wear way quicker than the first bit did. So if you've got 6,000 hours on that machine and it's measuring out at 50%, you think, oh, I'll get, you know, another 6,000 hours out of the machine. It's not how it works. What happens, you actually start wearing through that hardening on those materials, and that once that softer metal gets in there, it wears out a lot quicker. So you want to be aware when you see something gets around 40 or 50%, because it will not last near as long as the first half did. So if somebody tells you something's at 50%, whether you're buying a machine from an auction, us, or whoever, you have to keep that in mind. That stuff's not got a whole lot of life left in it. So whenever we get something in, it's got about that much percentage left on it. Usually we're replacing that stuff because we know it's not going to last that long. So just from experience, like say, those measurements are only good for so much. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit from this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. Leave some comments below. We are a undercarriage dealer for ITR America, so we can get any of this stuff. You guys need something like that. So, and we'll do a measurement video on a dozer here in the near future too. So if you guys want to see that, definitely subscribe so you don't miss out. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Action!
Gotcha. You ready?
Let's do this.